It's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings, so we take what works and we leave what doesn't, as with everything in life. And if I don't catch your wavelength on this particular reading, go check your other major placements, your sun, moon, rising, or Venus. It's probably your sun, but I can't say that. It's like the alphabet. I can't say that whole thing without everything in it. So, and then I'm going to post pictures of the spread at the end if you want to check that out. All right, we start with the Oracle Mystical Moments deck first. And then we move on to the Ethereal Moments tarot deck for our tarot reading, the actual sort of tarot reading. This is just giving us an intuitive vibe of what we're going to be looking for. Some of these cards are specific to where you're at right now, and some of them are just general truths or general ideas that are always true, but the deck is asking you to take a particular look at it right now. All right, Capricorn. What do we have for Capricorn this week? Okay, some fun stuff. All right. So we have Butterfly Garden. So this is about you've changed your mind, or something about you has changed, and it does kind of fascinate you. It could be a little bit about your sexuality, or it could be just anything on your mind, the way you see the world, the way you view the world. It's changed. This is you're closely observing yourself here and your changes and what you've gone through, and it fascinates you. You fascinate yourself right now. And the ways that you've changed and the ways that you've grown. You're very curious about this. Who have I become? What did I just go through? And who am I now? And then I love this card. It's one of my favorites. I actually think about it a lot when I'm not reading tarot. This is the Listen card. And this is this deep listening to this peek to the backstage of life, listening to what goes on back there, listening to all the preparations, listening to what's not being said. So what's underneath? So we see, what's being said, what's being done up here. What's this down here? What's the part that's supporting that? What's behind that anger? What's behind that sadness? What's behind, although sadness is generally a primary emotion and anger is a secondary emotion. So anger usually has something behind it, fear, sadness, anxiety, something like that. Even love can be behind, especially love. Anger can just be an emotion that can really express love, but it kind of gets a little... these things that we love, we're afraid for them and we respond, and anger gives us a sense of power in our situation, even especially in situations where we don't have any power. That adrenaline rush of anger can make us feel like we have more power in a situation in which we're feeling particularly powerless. So anger can be relief from a sense of powerlessness. So all that's to say, if someone's mad or angry, if you're mad or angry, listen to what's been beneath that. Where's the pain and the thing that you love that's feeling threatened underneath that, right? So we're listening to what's behind things. And I also love the sense here of the roots growing down. You can do those root meditations where the roots grow from your feet and sort of permeate the earth, and you can visualize yourself getting grounded into the earth. This could involve some grounding work, some, walking barefoot and connecting with real dirt, with real earth, of which we're made completely of this earth. We are, all of us, from worm to moose to human, earthlings, people made of things solely on this earth, from this earth. So reconnecting with that can be very healing and very powerful. But I also hear there's like roots crackling down, and to me it's like this quiet growth, this quiet subterranean growth. You're growing and changing in ways that other people can't see, and maybe you can't even see. But that growth, that deep rooting growth, there's something extremely beautifully consensual about emotional growth. If you come to a rock or a hard spot, you just go around it. You don't try to barrel through it. That can happen with time. That rock can get crushed and turn to dust and dirt over time as the root grows. If the root grows around it and then then it's another way in which water erodes power, erodes rock, right? It erodes the rock and makes the sand. And it takes a long time, but that water and that life within the roots can also cause some breaking down of rocks as well. So we're growing easily, we're growing in ways that feel natural. We're not pushing it. We're not being brutal with our subterranean growth. We're growing emotionally, and it's a very gentle process. And it's a very, we're taking the path of least resistance. We're not going through those rocks because we're not sledgehammers. We're earthlings and we're trees, and we're going around them. So we're being very gentle with ourselves, being very gentle with the parts of ourselves that aren't yet ready to crack open, and just growing around obstacles very gently, very consensually, very beautifully. So this card means quite a bit to me, and so it's got a lot of different things that I get from it and that I feel from it. So I do tend to think about it throughout my day, especially while doing those rooting meditations and thinking about how we grow best, through that path of least resistance, still growing, always deepening our connections, but doing it so gently, and not ruthlessly, but so gently. So and listening. Oh man, deep listening. You listen to someone and then you listen some more. I'm not always 100% the world's best listener, but I get very excited about topics and have a hard time refraining. But I do find throughout my life that listening, and then they pause, and then you just wait a little bit more, and the really juicy stuff comes out afterwards. But so you're being encouraged to listen, possibly to yourself, possibly to other people, possibly to yourself, not pushing too hard on those things that are too hard, but going around something that's an obstacle, taking the path of least resistance in your own personal growth. It's all very subterranean. There's a lot of growth that's not really being seen. There's growth that's seen and growth that's not being seen. And you want it that way because it's a root. It's not supposed to be seen unless you're those trees that have like the cypress trees with the knees up and the roots are like. Okay. All right. Now on to the story, the Ethereal Moments Tarot. Capricorn, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. None of this is very pleasant. That first part was very pleasant and nice, and then and not to freak you out, but there's some unpleasantness here for sure. Okay. So in your recent past, you have this Knight of Swords. You have a swift moving, very determined, charging communication of truth coming in, just a sword of truth, just really coming in there. It's got some sharp edges to it. It's a understanding, a realization. This knight is suited up. He's most natural. It's the sword sort of in a lot of ways really embodies that the knight's energy, right? So we've got the freshmen of the deck. The knights are the sophomores, the wise fools, the excited, gung-ho, moving forward. I know what I'm doing mostly, but I'm still suited up because because I know I can be a little, this job requires me to be a little reckless, or, where I'm at is a little bit reckless. So there might have been some reckless truth coming in here. I really feel like the knights and the swords, it's the sword energy with the sword energy. It's this reckless energy with the reckless energy, or the truth hard fight with the hard fight. So that's what I'm getting from the Knight of Swords right now. I mean, it is truth, it is communication, but I'm getting that sharpness, that determinedness, that going to battleness, that charging forward, going to battle. sort of feeling here in your recent past. Your present situation involves Two of Pentacles. This is juggling, so this isn't the Temperance card where we're bringing things together and we're compromising and we're bringing a little of this and a little of this and making it nice and smooth and palatable. This is two things that just don't, by their very nature, don't mix very well. So you're having to juggle like work and home life, the toddler and the business meeting, the finances with the needs. Sometimes those things just aren't ever going to be on the same page. So you're doing this sort of eternal dance. It's two things that always need to be negotiated, two energies, two people, two parts of your life that just always have to be negotiated. So you're doing this juggling dance here. So you're juggling a couple things here. Your inner landscape, your hopes, your fears, your subconscious issues. You have the Two of Swords. You have stubbornness, refusal, denial, a lot of denial, refusing to see something, refusing to acknowledge something, just blocking. You're blocking yourself. You have a block in your subconscious. Sorry, but that's what I was seeing with this rock right here. If you've got a block in your subconscious, just keep growing around it, growing in the ways that, and becoming healthier and more grounded in the ways that you can now. And this block will hopefully crumble at some point as you grow around it and you become stronger. And what was first just a hair-like tendril of root becomes a big, huge, with time becomes a hugely healthy, giant root system and can hopefully crumble this resistance that you have, because you've got a big block in your subconscious issues, and some stubbornness and denial. So denial is so funny because it's like we know something, but we're not going to know that. No, I did not just see that. No, I did not. And so we know, part of our brain knows something and the rest of the brain sort of seals it off, quarantines it, and is like, nope, actually that part does not exist anymore. We do not see that. But in order to seal it off, you have to have seen it. And denial isn't bad. Denial can protect us. I mean, we're going to quarantine a thought or a knowledge or information, if we're going to quarantine that away, it's to protect the rest of the brain. So this ugly, horrible truth doesn't infect the rest of the situation, right? And so we may not be ready for it. We may not have all gotten our masks over here. We may not have gotten our toilet paper yet. So we've got to quarantine this idea and this information over here while we do some preparations over here. So, and we do that by growing, continuing to grow and get better and move. And then this door can open, and this thing that we have sealed off for our own protection because we weren't ready to see it. We weren't ready to know it. That's one of the points of growing, and actually one of the most terrifying things about it is these doors that you've sealed off start to open and you start to see what's back there and what's behind there, and it can be a little bit scary because you're like, wow, that was there the whole time. Oh my God, I cannot believe that. Whew, that was hiding in that closet in the back. Oh, that's horrible. That's gross, or that's, terrifying, that thing that was in there. And we just locked the closet and we've lived here the whole time with that thing in there. Oh my gosh. So I think I just wrote a whole short story about somebody locking something away. But I mean, I am getting Edgar Allan Poe's, is it the Telltale Heart? Where's the one where he bricks in this heart but can still hear it beating? Yeah. So anyway, it's like that. There's been some denial here. There's some blockage. You've refused to see something. And at first, unfortunately, you're seeing this reading. So there's something, so it's coming up for you. But at first you sealed it off for your own protection. You weren't ready, but there's something stubborn now happening from this point on. You not opening that door, you not dealing with that. That's a stubbornness. That's a blockage that you're choosing. So, I mean, we just keep growing. And that allows, these doors to open, these closets to open. I have my closet right here. These closets to open. and show us what's inside and what we've hidden away from ourselves. But you are blocked internally. It's okay, just keep growing, and this will open eventually. Your stubbornness will cease, the rock will break, and you'll be able to deal with that. So what's the issue here is this Three of Wands, but it's reversed. It's a lack of faith. There's a dawn coming, and you're not sure you believe it. There's a new thing coming, a vision coming, something you've thought was going to happen, an intuitive thing, a vision that you had. I mean, normally in the upright, you're going out here to watch the sunrise, and your ships come in because you know they're coming in, even though no one's seen them on the horizon. No one's told you. You know something's coming in. But here you are. You're not trusting in your tuition. You're not having faith in the situation. You're not having a lot of faith. You're just you're not using your intuition, and you're doubting everything, and you're not having faith in what's coming and what you should know is coming. But you've got this internal block. Well, sometimes these internal blocks don't just block out what we don't want to see. They block out things that we do want to see. It's like when you block your feelings, you can't just block the bad ones. You block your capacity for the good ones too. So you can't just block something out and be like, and it's just, I just don't want to feel angry, so I'm just not going to feel angry. Well, yeah, anger is very, it's very difficult. It hides a lot of things. Some people really love feeling angry because that's where they feel powerful, right? But if you're like, I'm not going to feel sad, I'm never going to feel vulnerable, I refuse to feel vulnerable, I refuse to see the places in which I am vulnerable, I'm never going to feel vulnerable, I'm just going to feel angry. And so you can't just block one thing, though. You block all of your emotions. You block the whole thing. It's just kind of like you can't just put the dimmer on one part of the light. The whole light gets dimmed. The whole situation gets fuzzed up, and you can't just put Vaseline on one part of the light. I'm thinking of the glamour shots. I mean, theoretically you could, but let's just say you can't just glamour shot the whole thing and be like, what? But I really like my nose, so I want that to be clear, but I hate my cheeks, so let's glamour shot those away. Or I guess now we call it, it's our phones that do it. I forget what it is. Anyway, you've got to apply the whole filter to the whole thing, or no filter, right? So that's a bit with our emotions. If you're blocking something, you're blocking your intuition also. And then around you, this is an interesting card in the external, in your external situation. It's this nightmare card. It could be somebody around you, or just the situation is a little bit nightmarish. You're physically safe, but there's a lot of teasing, a lot of laughing, maybe some making fun of it. Obviously, this is going to get you in a defensive mode. Internally, if that's going on externally, it could be someone around you that's dealing with a huge amount of anxiety. It could be partially based on something that you do, but you don't want to change it. And it could be just this, or you just feeling like everyone around you is making fun of you, is laughing at you. That is internal. So that's what's funny about the Nine of Swords, is it's supposed to be an internal nightmare, but it's in your external. So it could be people are actually making fun of you. Oh my gosh, no, that's going to make you feel paranoid and terrible. It's okay if they do. Who gives a shit? I mean, that's a hard place to get to. That takes a lot of work and a lot of growth to be able to get that to there from. I don't want, what other people think and what other people say is super duper important to me. It does not matter what other people think and what other people say. That can be a very long, difficult journey. So this Nine of Swords, though, a nightmare, either a nightmare scenario going on around you, or having to live through an actual nightmare feeling or a nightmare situation. So something external, or someone around you just dealing with a lot of anxiety and a lot of fears. Your to-do list is Two of Wands. Okay, so maybe we're not getting all the way to the Three of Wands upright and having complete faith and in our intuition and in what's coming for us. But let's at least get to the Two of Wands here. This is looking at what is, calculating. I mean, it's the best way actually to get out of this is write down, or look at what are the facts of the situation, not your interpretation, not what you think they said, but what they actually said, not what you interpreted your reinterpretation of what they said, but what they actually said and what they actually did. This is getting down to brass tacks here. This is what is real, what exists, making calculations, seeing what's real, listing possibly even what's real. He's a general, and he's getting his fleet ready to, his ships ready to go, and he's looking at what exists right in front of him, what he has, what is his. And then he's planning out, which ship is going to carry which cargo, which captain is going to be in charge of each ship, who his crewmen are going to be. He's planning this all out. So there's some sort of planning that needs to happen, and some sort of hard look at reality and what's really here. I mean, because I've got you in this, you are in this denial situation, this denial card, refusal to see. And this is look at what you have. Actually do some accounting, actually do some schedule, look at your schedule, get a spreadsheet out. This is such a spreadsheet card. Get a spreadsheet out, list your assets, list your debts, list what you do have. Look at your schedule very clearly, list, what activities you have to do literally in order to survive, and then what ones are just you're interpreting that you have to do. Who said, if you've got this nightmare energy, a lot of this is just your interpretation of what somebody said. Or maybe someone did say some shit stuff to you that's horrible and destructive. Well, look at what it is. Write it down. Bring it out into the open and look very clearly at what you have, what was literally said. It might be awful, or it might not be that awful, and your imagination and your insecurities ran off with it. So this is looking very clearly at what you have, maybe even at these things that you need to juggle, looking and calculating, getting out a spreadsheet and being very clear about what is real, what is here. And this will hopefully get you out of this denial energy, this hard reckoning, this clearly seeing. We're not doing an intuitive thing here. You're not ready for an intuitive thing. First, you got to look at what exists. And then this leads you to your possible outcome, this 8 of Cups. This is your intuition coming through loud and clear. The clouds clear out here, and you can see very clearly what needs to happen next. So getting organized, getting clear about what's real and what you have leads you to, okay, this is what I have. I have 8 cups. Okay, I get that now. I have 8 cups. I think, and now your intuition gets to come in loud and clear. Now that the facts are down, the intuition gets to come in and say, you need 2 more cups. You want 2 more cups. And it might be a little difficult to get. It might be a bit of a treacherous journey, but 8 cups is not the fulfillment, is not fulfilling for you. You want 2 more. But you're doing this deep listening to what you already have, to what exists, a deep listening, a deep understanding, and then you're listening to your intuition, and your intuition pulls you forward and tells you, is going to be coming in here with there's more to life than this. Now that you see very clearly, now your intuition comes in and tells you what's missing, what needs to happen next, where you need to go next. It's not going to be easy. Your intuition's not going to take you down the freeway. It's taking you off-road in the mountains. I mean, you're way above the tree line here. There's no oxygen even. It's a pretty intense little journey you're going to have ahead of you, and you're going to have to be listening to your intuition. So you've got to clear some denial out, though, so that intuition can actually come in nice and clear and tell you what's missing. Because you might know something's missing here, but you don't know what, and that's because you've dimmed the whole thing. You've glamour shotted the whole face. You need to unglamour shot the whole face. You can't just pick and choose what you're going to feel, what emotions you want to feel. If you dim one, you're going to dim them all. So you got to get a lot more clarity here. And then your intuition, from that clarity, from that understanding and that clear seeing, your intuition gets to come in then. And that clear seeing clears the clouds, clears the night sky, and then you see what needs to happen next. All right, Capricorn. So you've got some some difficult stuff in your inner landscape to work with here. And best of luck as you grow. I know you can do it. It's scary and hard, but you can do it. And anyway, thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments. I really appreciate them. Have a good week.